The Texas baseball team is on a roll, but a former Longhorn is on their way to a big-time rival. We're talking that and a whole lot more next on College Crossfire.
I guess we'll get into it, guys. Always enthusiastic, unbelievable, hard-nosed.
Roll up the sleeves for this one.
This Dallas team was very overrated from the start, like they always are every year.
The talent there, Kevin Mack, Eric Davis, and Cohen Roach are maybe three of the most talented guys in the team.
That's an ugly shirt.
Always a pleasure having you on, guys.
Time to freak out.
Good evening and welcome into College Crossfire. I'm your host, Mark Skol Jr. Glad to have you with us on your Wednesday night. Let's go ahead and meet tonight's panel. We're in elite company tonight. Steve Helwick joining the show.
Steve Helwick!
I'm doing pretty well.
Good to have you on, Steve. The man in the middle, Joe Morris. Funny as always, holding his breath. Why are you holding your breath, man? It's College Crossfire.
Good posture.
Good posture. Okay, all right. And the man on the end, the two-time defending champion, Sean Mapes.
Close enough.
Sean Mapes, dude, you're in the lucky chair again.
Yeah, I'm just looking to make a three-peat. Nothing else to do.
Nothing else to do on a Wednesday night. All right, guys, let's get started. Before last night's 6-5 loss against Texas A&M, the Longhorn baseball team won 6 straight, including a 3-game sweep against the Baylor Bears. All of a sudden, Texas has found itself second best record in the Big 12. You guys think they have a chance to win conference championship?
I think that it's incredible that they're second place in the Big 12, but I don't think that they're going to take that extra step and become conference champions. You look where this team was just 2 years ago with a losing record. David Pierce is already working his way up. They've looked better this year, but they've been inconsistent at times. Sometimes the pitching's been off. Sometimes the scoring's been off. Had a last night loss to the Aggies, not a Big 12 team, but they've done pretty well in Big 12 play. But you look at Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's clearly the top team right now, and I think it'll stay that way.
They can flip the script this weekend and go into Norman to play the Sooners. Joe?
I gotta agree with Steve here.
What the heck?
Oklahoma's been looking too good this year. They're undefeated in conference play. They only have about 2 or 3 losses on the season, I believe. They got 3 guys all hitting above 300 on the season, and they got 2 pitchers in particular, Devin Perez and Jake Irvin, who have combined for 9 wins and both have less than a 3 ERA. That's too good. That's too top-heavy for them going into this weekend with Texas. So I don't see Texas really taking the series win.
Well, you really know your OU pitching roster. That was pretty good. That was pretty good, Sean.
Yeah, I think what the Longhorns done so far this season has been impressive. You know, coming off that bad season from last year, just to be in this position is a good thing.
Dang
but
right.
But I think. The lack of just consistent starting pitching, you know, the Kansas State series, I think 2 of the 3 games, the starter didn't get out of the 4th inning. You saw it again with Nico O'Donnell last night. The trouble more recently has just been starting pitching. The runs have been there. They lost a game to Kansas State 11-10. Like that, 10 is enough to win. So going into OU, they definitely have a chance. They can overtake them. They're down 2 games. They play 3 games this weekend. I wouldn't bet on it. I think it's probably OU wins the series 2-1.
Yeah, I got to go with Sean here. I think it's all has to do with the pitching, the starting rotation. Nolan Kingham hasn't been himself lately. Yeah. Chase Sugar hasn't been the greatest either. So I go with Sean here. I think it's the consistency with the pitching is the key for Texas. All right, guys, moving on. Houston native Patrick Reed might have won the Masters, but it was 2 Longhorns who stole the show. Jordan Spieth finished 3rd in the Masters, but had an absolutely amazing comeback, shooting 8 under Sunday alone. This other Longhorn was current Texas golfer Doug Gim, who finished as a low amateur in the tournament, making 3 eagles. What Longhorn had the more impressive weekend, Spieth or Gim, Joe?
Well, when you look at it, at the end of the tournament, who was up there at the 3 people on the podium talking to Jim Nance and whoever else was asking the question at CBS? It was Doug Gim. He was the one that won the amateur round. He shot +8 for the whole tournament, but when you consider that he's the best amateur in the field and he's gonna now be professional, what he's done in college is he's better at this point in his career in college than where Spieth was when he was in college. So I think him winning against good players is a bit better than where Spieth was, just finishing 3rd.
Spieth never played in the Masters as an amateur either. Sean?
Yeah, I agree with Joe. I think it's Doug Gim because honestly, him and the other amateurs wasn't even close. He had the silver cup that goes to the lowest scoring amateur in the in the tournament. He had that sewn up by Friday. I mean, what he did, he was the only amateur to make the cut. He shot +8, but Augusta is the hardest golf course in the world. So I think that Doug Gim, Spieth played well, but he's kind of dealing with higher expectations. So it takes more for him to impress us. So Spieth definitely played well, but give me Gim, the senior.
Going with Gim, yeah. He eagled on 18, and I believe there's only been, it's either 6 or 7 people have ever eagled on 18. He was one of them as an amateur. Steve?
I can't help but be just very impressed by what Jordan Spieth did. He's 9 strokes behind and manages to tie the lead from that. Shoots one of the best strokes ever. What he get, like a 62 on his last. Spieth just did very well in a comeback effort, showed a lot of resiliency. He could have quit. He just ended up getting birdie after birdie, inching his way back. And the fact that I think he finished 3rd place, and I think that out of over 450 golfers he competed against, only 14 have beat him in Masters history. Just sustaining this excellence from year to year in the Masters and showing a comeback effort and getting 3rd still after a terrible start, I'm very impressed by what Spieth did.
Yeah, Doug Gim was impressive, but I think Spieth stole the show on Sunday. He was the best golfer on Sunday, better than Patrick Reed, even though he won the Masters. So I got to go with Steve here. Steve's getting the point. All right, guys, on to Texas volleyball. Former Longhorn and #1 overall recruit Lexi Sun announced she is transferring to Nebraska. The Cornhuskers, of course, beat the Longhorns in the 2015 National Championship, and Nebraska also won the National Championship last year as well. So what are you guys' thoughts about Sun transferring to one of Texas's big rivals?
What the heck?
Sean?
Yeah, what the heck indeed. I think it's a big loss for the Longhorns, but Jared Elliott, coach of the Longhorns volleyball team, he's built a really good program that can that's well sustained to kind of take a hit like this. I know Lexi Sun's a great player, but you also have veterans like Micaiah White coming back. You have Ashley Shook coming back. So this team is still going to be able to compete against Kansas in the Big 12 and is going to be nationally competitive. But Nebraska does look really good considering they got last year's #1 recruit coming off of a national championship year. Losing Lexi Sun's big. She's a really good player, but I think Texas should still, have the same expectations as they would normally have.
And she was first team all Big 12 too. Steve?
We asked a couple weeks ago on the show about what Lexi Sun's transfer meant to Texas, and I said that Jared Elliott, he sustained so much success from his time at Texas that Texas can afford to lose someone even if she is that good. But Texas's championship hopes just got a lot dimmer over the next 3 years. Nebraska just wins it, and you see a Kevin Durant type move in college volleyball. She can play right away. Lexi Sun joins the champions.
My next chapter.
Joins the champions in my next chapter. I mean, Texas is going to have a Russell Westbrook, whether that be Micaiah White there to contend, but Nebraska has college volleyball on lock until Lexi Sun graduates, I think, now.
Yeah, they got a lot stronger with Lexi Sun. All right, Joe, looks like he's got a little presentation here.
Yeah, they say pictures are worth 1,000 words, and I can't really say too much about Lexi Sun with any more than this picture can. Of you got Lexi Sun as Kevin Durant. Next chapter.
Wow.
Nice white.
Did you draw that yourself?
Yes, the printer wasn't working.
Wait, so you actually photoshopped it?
Yeah, and then drew it.
You drew it. Okay. I got to give Joe the extra. I got to give him the points for the extra, the creativity, the extra effort. He drew Lexi Sun with the Nebraska Cornhuskers jersey on. It looks exactly like her, as you guys can tell.
Kevin Durant.
So Joe is getting the point. Lexi Sun going to.
By the way, is there something in the water? I mean, Kevin Durant went to Texas for 1 year and did what he did with the Warriors. Lexi Sun went to Texas for 1 year. Now she's pulling the Durant move.
It must be something in the water.
Yeah, who's the next big-time freshman to leave?
It's going to be interesting. Maybe
Ari Bastami?
All right, guys.
One and done.
After the break, our panelists will discuss the NBA and NHL playoffs. Stay tuned. That's pretty. Welcome back in the College Crossfire, your home for live sports debate on the 40 acres. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. We're all knotted up at 1. Joe with some creativity last round. All right, guys, let's get some creativity going here. All right, let's get after it. The NBA playoffs will officially be finalized tonight After the Nuggets and Timberwolves play for the last spot in the West, it's a close one, 3 minutes left, 99-96 T-Wolves. The playoffs start on Saturday, and in the last 3 years, we've seen the same two teams in the finals, the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I want you guys to give me a dark horse team that could make some noise in the playoffs. Steve, Mr. Basketball himself.
I'm trusting the process here. 15 straight, I'm going the 76ers.
Holy cow,
and yes, I
Kelly.
know that Joel Embiid won't be in the first round, but they should be able to beat a 6 seed. I haven't checked the standings, whether it's going to be the Wizards or the Heat or the Bucks. The Sixers can get that series with Ben Simmons. This team has so many confident players on it. You see Simmons and Embiid on social media. These are some of the most confident guys. You have some guys who've been in the finals before, and Redick and Bellinelli, great shooters. Have good defensive team all around. They have extra pieces like Covington and Saric. This team is fully built to already contend for a championship. It's amazing what they've done on their first year with a healthy squad. Sixers also create great matchup problems for the Cavaliers. Who's going to guard Embiid? James can guard Simmons, but Kevin Love's not stopping Embiid. When he gets healthy, and if he gets healthy, this Sixers team's going to challenge the Cavs in the conference finals. They could make the NBA finals already.
What do you think? Will they make the finals this year?
I think that they're still one more year
One more
away,
year?
but
Okay.
I think it's going to be a very interesting series against Cleveland
They look-
because Cleveland will beat Toronto.
Yeah, they look really good. Joe?
Well, I'm going with Utah Jazz.
What the
When you talk about how they've got twice this year, they had 2 10-game win streaks. They've been unstoppable since Rudy Gobert has been healthy again. They've had 5 losses since January, just like Loyola. And Donovan Mitchell's been averaging 20 points per game as a rookie. That's unheard of. If you give Quinn Snyder 7 games to match up against Houston, probably in the second round, he could probably beat them. So I could see the Jazz making the Western Conference Finals this year if they pull everything together.
It'd be amazing what they would be like if they had Gordon Hayward too.
Yeah.
It'd be
Wow.
crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Sean?
Yeah, speaking of teams that could have had Gordon Hayward this season, the Celtics, whoever's facing them is going to, they kind of got as soft as a matchup as you can get as a 7 seed playing the 2 seed Boston Celtics. So that, again, it kind of depends how everything kind of shakes out. Maybe it's the Heat, maybe it's the Bucks. And just in the Bucks in general, having a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, anyone who is just the best player on the court, like 90% of the time when he steps on the court, I feel like that's a major factor in the playoffs, of just being able just to be better than someone. You have a guy to just toss the rock to and say, hey, get a bucket. So I really like teams like the Bucks as kind of a dark horse team, maybe even going to the West. The Pelicans, the West is a little harder because we don't know who's going to play who yet. There's still a lot to shake out. But just walking into a series knowing you have Anthony Davis on your squad, that's a very good position to be in. But if there is one team, I would say probably, assuming they get the 7th seed in the East, the Bucks.
Okay. I got to go with Joe here. I think that I love Donovan Mitchell as a scorer. I think Ben Simmons is great. I think he'll probably win Rookie of the Year. But if I want someone with the ball in his hands down the stretch, I think it's Donovan Mitchell. He's been really good with the Jazz. All right, guys. Moving on, while the NBA playoffs aren't completely set, the NHL playoffs are. In fact, the playoffs start tonight with the 2-time defending champion Pittsburgh Penguins taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Sid the Kid already has a hat trick, and they will be competing for a three-peat. But what do you guys think? Who will hoist the Stanley Cup? Joe?
I'm gonna go Nashville Predators. They have the experience. They have the experience from last year, and they were even better than they were last year. They improved by 12 wins this year. Their offense scores at about 3.2 goals per game, so that's about 7th in the league. That's going to be enough for them to get out in front of other teams. But their defense is second best in the league. They only give up about 2.5 per game. So when you talk about playoff hockey and how teams always score in clutch moments, if the Predators can stop those teams from scoring, then they're probably going to keep winning. And that's the key to winning in the playoffs.
And Pekka Rinne, the goaltender, has been really solid between the posts. Sean?
I'm going to go maybe a little bit of a Cinderella pick, I guess. As much as a Cinderella pick can be the team that finished first in the Pacific, give me the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Give me Marc-Andre Fleury. Give me William Karlsson. I really think that this team, they had the expansion draft, so they didn't get any top end kind of players, but they got a lot of teams 4th and 3rd and 5th best players that are all, stabilizing figures in the locker room, stabilizing figures on the ice, and that a lot of them have played some of the best they've had in their career. So I feel like everything's kind of culminating right now for the for the Knights. They just have the right group of guys, and it's kind of a little bit of a Cinderella story. Your first year in the NHL, I have them win the cup.
A very interesting story for the Golden Knights. I mean, who would have thought that an expansion team would already be a favorite to win the Stanley Cup? Steve?
Mark, you're not going to like this, but hear me out on this one.
All right, let's hear it.
The three-peat is happening.
Oh,
I'm winning?
no.
Ever since
Sean's getting the win.
Ever since Mike Sullivan's taken the coaching reins, ever since Matt Murray has been in the net, and ever since Phil Kessel has signed with the Penguins have won the Stanley Cup every year. In most of these series, they've coasted by. They have the experience. It's a star-heavy team, and stars matter in the playoffs. You have Sidney Crosby, hat trick tonight, 7-0 win. They're already establishing their dominance in the playoff, and Crosby's doing crazy things with hand-eye coordination that no other players can do. Best player of this generation. You add in guys like Malkin and Kessel, you just have guys who are talented with the puck in their hands. And then you have one of the fastest teams in the league. They play at such a fast pace, good skaters. Guys like Brian Rust and Jake Gensel, some of the wings, and then Justin Schultz on the defense. They have so many young guys, too, that add to this veteran talent. And then Matt Murray, he's been the hottest goalie in the playoffs the last 2 years. If he can stay healthy and sustain his success in the net, there's no reason why this talented team can't win its third straight cup. I think they'll have a rematch against Nashville and come out again.
Okay. I think Matt Murray's great, but his health is such a question mark. And in the East, you got the Lightning and the Bruins that they would face in the conference finals. I think that's going to be tough. I don't think the Penguins get back there. I think the Golden Knights, I think they're going to win the cup. Wow. I'm going with Sean here. I'd love to see. That'd be a great story. So Sean's getting the point. All right, guys. It's showtime in Major League Baseball. Showtime for Japanese sensation Shohei Ohtani, that is. Ohtani was a highly touted prospect who can both hit and pitch at an elite level, and he's done just that in his last game pitch. He gave up only one hit and had a perfect game into the 7th inning while he already has 3 home runs at the plate this season. But what do you guys think what is the best aspect in Ohtani's game, Sean?
I think the best aspect is going to be his pitching. I think it's already probably been the best aspect. Really, the only bad start even the first start he had was a good start. The only bad spot of it was giving up the 3-run home run in the 2nd inning. His 2nd inning in the majors, he gave up a 3-run home run. He hasn't gave up a run since. Like you said, he had the perfect game going into the 6th. Went 7 innings, 12 strikeouts. Only has walked one guy each outing he's had. Sundays with Shohei is going to be the biggest thing in the Anaheim area. I think he's walking in here with the 2.08 ERA. I think that's going to be a more sustainable thing because right now he's hitting a home run basically like every 6 at-bats. That's twice as good as Babe Ruth ever did. I feel like that's going to slow down a little bit. I think that he's going to be more reliable as a starting pitcher because he can throw 98. He can hit the spots. It's something that he can control himself. I think batting is just going to be a little bit more of an adjustment period. He started off great, but I think there's going to be, like you saw with Aaron Judge last year, just a little bit of a rookie wall coming from the hitting side.
Yeah, and he hits 98 miles per hour, but then his breaking ball's nasty too. Steve?
Pitching is is his best part of his game. Like Sean said, it's going to average out eventually as hitting, probably. But the fact that he already has about a 2 ERA and he's in the top 20 in strikeouts in the MLB is just impressive. But I think the most impressive part of his game is that he's pitcher who can hit, which is so rare to see in these days. I remember Micah Owings, I think his name was, with the Diamondbacks, was really the last great hitting pitcher that we've seen. But the
Carlos Zambrano
yeah,
was a switch hitter. He had home runs from both sides of the
the
plate.
fact that he's almost hitting 400 right now and already has 3 home runs as a pitcher is just so impressive. In Ohtani, just the fact that he can hit and pitch, just a combination of those is what makes him really deadly and truly a generational talent.
Yeah, and the next Babe Ruth, the Japanese Babe Ruth is what they're calling him. Joe?
Yeah, I'm also going to have to go with his hitting because when you look, the Angels have said they want to, in their future plans, they want to slide Ohtani into the DH spot for every game. So if you can get a guy that's pitching, or that pitches every 4 games, but that can hit every game, that's more of an impact per game than just pitching, which is why you see so many position players winning MVP and not so many pitchers.
Yeah, I'll go with Joe here. I think that the hitting has been a tremendous, and especially he hit a home run off of a Cy Young winner, Corey Kluber. I mean, and he also, I believe it was his first at bat ever at Angel Stadium. He hit a home run. It would have been a grand slam if there wasn't a wild pitch to pitch before. So I think the hitting has been the most impressive thing so far. So I'm going with Joe here. All right, guys, great debate. That's it for now. We've got Rapid Fire up next, and you don't want to miss it.
won 101 with 3 seconds to go.
No.
Welcome back to College Crossfire. It's Heat up in here for some rapid fire. For those of you watching at home, each question in rapid fire is worth 2 points, so anyone can still take home the victory. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. Steve Helwick, he's got 1. Joe Morris looking good there in the middle with 3, and Sean Mapes looking for his 3-peat. He's got 2 on the end. All right, guys, here we go. Over the weekend, the Texas baseball team had a giveaway with shirts of shortstop David Hamilton, and on the shirt was a parody of the Broadway show Hamilton. Instead of the playbill at the top, it said play ball. Great shirt, guys, but I need you guys to give me a play or a movie that a Longhorn athlete should have the leading role in.
Holy cow.
And it can be a former Longhorn athlete as well.
Okay, so they should remake the movie The Departed with Lexi Sun and Mohammed Vampa.
Oh, I like that.
Boom, right
Coming
there.
in hot. He's giving me 2 athletes.
Yeah, sorry.
Come on, Steve.
I'm going to give the Titanic with the Texas basketball team and the Nevada basketball team. Nevada plays the iceberg.
Oh, wow. Okay, I like that. Joe?
My All-American, but
The trust.
yeah, with Michael Dixon.
With Michael
He
Dixon.
can't kick anymore.
He is an All-American.
He has to use his crutches to hit the ball.
All right, I got to go with Sean here. I thought that Mo Bamba and Lexi Sun, The Departed, that would be awesome. All right, guys, moving on. Perhaps the biggest news in the sports world over the weekend had to deal with UFC fighter Conor McGregor's violent meltdown. McGregor was arrested after throwing a dolly through the bus window of one of his UFC rivals, Khabib Nurmagomedov. For those 2 points, what's the most insane outburst you've seen from an athlete or coach?
McGregor!
It's rapid fire, so anyone can jump in.
So you've seen a lot of, on the field wise, you've seen a lot of baseball guys kind of get into it. You've seen a lot of football, like pushing, shoving, benching, cleared brawls. But very rarely do you see a coach throw a chair onto the court. So I'm going to go with Bobby Knight in the 80s when he did that at IU. It's one of those moves it's unmistakable because he's the only one ever to do it. You know, we had 2 baseball fights today. I think that Bobby Knight throwing the chair. And if anyone ever does it again, know what they're gonna say? Remember the time Bobby Knight did it. So I go Bobby Knight chair throw.
That was an amazing moment. I mean, I feel like people know Bobby Knight more for his antics than for his coaching, even though he was a great coach.
Great coach.
Joe,
I'm going to say Ron Artest charging the stands, beating up and leading to a whole riot within the Detroit game. It was incredible. It's amazing players didn't even get arrested, considering that that's like so much of an assault, inciting a riot and everything. They almost did.
the malice at the palace.
Absolutely.
And it was insane. And no one got arrested. That was ridiculous. But now Ron Artest isn't here in this world anymore. It's
Meta
not
World Peace.
Meta World Peace now.
Canada's
But Ron
friend.
Artest at the time.
My favorite part of that story is that in the locker room after they had to get escorted off the court and out of the stands, Steven Jackson looked to Ron Artest and said, "You think we're going to get in trouble for this?"
Yeah, they almost did.
Yeah.
Well, they did, I guess. They got
suspended for the rest of the year. Yeah.
Steve?
Well, since Joe took mine, I can remember seeing a video of I think it was a minor league manager one time getting ejected. This was like on the Top 50 sports show once. And I remember he was kicking dirt at the umpire. Then he started stealing the bases. He started pouring water on the bases and then stealing them. You can look it up on YouTube. He was like stealing the bases, throwing them around. Just how far he dragged it out, his ejection, I think that was one of the best I've ever seen.
I think it's the way you got to take it. You take it to the max, and I think Steve's minor league guy took it to the max. I've seen that video. I don't know his name either. It's a minor league.
Okay, you've seen it. I was going to make sure.
Was he the guy who got on was behind the pitcher's mound and grabbed the rosin bag and threw it like a grenade?
It might have been.
It might have been. I remember him pouring water
was-
on like home plate or something.
He was going nuts. All right, guys. So Steve's getting the point. So let's take a look at the scoreboard. We got Steve with 3, Joe with 3, and Sean with 4. So it's all coming down to this final rapid fire of the night. Last week we celebrated the 25th anniversary of one of the greatest sports movies ever, The Sandlot. And in honor of this baseball classic, we're ending this week's edition of College Crossfire with another guessing game. I'm going to show you a character from The Sandlot, and you have to give me their name, and each correct answer is worth 1 point. So let's go ahead and get started. Our first one is the catcher for The Sandlot.
Great Hambino.
The what?
Small.
Great Hambino.
Hambino. So Joe gets it, the Hambino. All right. Our next one is
Smalls.
That's not Smalls. Next one is the shortstop who he utters the same name back and forth. He always says the same phrase. That's his nickname.
John, Jack, Bob.
No, he says his name. His name is 2 words. It's the same 2 words twice.
Play ball.
Jack? I don't know.
Did you guys
What letters do they start with?
Not
Why?
Not no.
Not no.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Sean, come on, guys. So Sean's got 5.
I haven't seen the Sandlot stuff.
Our next character is
Smalls.
Oh, Jenny Peppercorn.
That's such a great strategy.
That is, yes. Wait, what'd you say?
Jenny Peppercorn?
It's not Jenny.
Jennifer?
Not
Jenna.
Jenny?
Not Jenny.
Jenna.
It's kind of like Jenny.
Jenna.
Lenny?
You can.
Jaina.
What?
Jesse?
Lenny? Linda?
Lenny. You can go to this place as a restaurant.
Jen's.
Jen?
It's a fast food restaurant.
Denny's.
No.
Jenny?
That's going to be Denny's.
Amy's?
It's a fast food restaurant that starts with a W.
Wendy Peppercorn.
Wendy Peppercorn. All right.
What a burger.
My favorite character from the Sandlot. All right, and we have one more, I believe.
It's probably Smalls.
Small.
Here he is. He's the guy who owns the beast.
Is that Larry Fishburne?
Did you guys watch The Sandlot?
I've never seen this
When I
movie.
was like 10.
Mr. what? Mr.
Potato Head.
It rhymes with turtle.
Mr. Squirtle. Mr. Purtle.
Mr. Lurtle.
Mr.
Birtle. Curdle. Dirtle.
Mr.
Fertile.
Turtle? Turtle? Zertle?
Myrtle.
Mr. Myrtle. Mr. Myrtle. So Steve's got 4, but Sean and Joe have 5. So we have a tiebreaker. So Steve, you cannot answer. You've lost. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Steve.
But the tiebreaker, here it is. I'm not going to give you any explanation. Here's the tiebreaker. Here it is on the screen. Who is that?
Holy cow.
Are you kidding me? Can I
Benji-
take the win?
Is Thomas? No.
He's the most famous character of them all.
Are you kidding
Sean,
me?
the most famous character of them all.
No.
Oh, the Jet.
Benny the Jet.
Benny, wait, did you get it?
I said the Jet.
You said the Jet. I think.
But Benny did
Who got it first? Who got it first?
Do we have instant replay?
Got a ruling.
I only saw Sean saying Benny the Jets.
I'll give it to Sean. He gets the 3P because he
I'm
said the
sorry.
full
He
name.
did the 3P.
Benny the Jet Rodriguez. Sean, he's got the 3P.
Wow.
Do we have time for FaceTime? We do. Sean, take it away.
Well, never in my wildest dreams would I think that I'd be, three-peating in anything, really. I mean, never would I thought college Crossfire. I want to thank my parents first and foremost. They're the ones that, put me here, gave me the tools to succeed, to make it to the mountaintop where I am right now. And it is, it's really emotional. It's really emotional, And with the heavy heart, I have to say that after winning 3 straight, I must announce my retirement from college Crossfire.
Oh, breaking news.
There's nothing more for me to do here. I've done it all. I've conquered everything. Maybe, kind of like Jordan winning 3 straight, I might go try something else. Maybe
I gamble a little bit. Go to KVR News.
Yeah, Good Morning Texas, something like that. I don't know. Any of the wonderful TSTV shows. It's been real and it's been fun.
Wow.
It has not been real fun, but
Wow.
I'm out.
The 3P retiring on top. He couldn't get a win for like
Mamba
6
out.
months.
Yeah.
And now he's got 3 in a row, and I'm not giving it to him. He's earning it himself. So Sean Mapes is your champion. That's it for College Crossfire. Don't miss College Press Box next Monday at 9:30 for a recap of all sports news on the 40 Acres. Special thanks to everyone in studio, Master Control, and to you for spending your Wednesday night with us. Till next time, I'm Mark Skol Jr. Good night.